Welcome back to our coverage of the Geneva International Motor Show. We're talking about supercars with this fine gentleman right here. Speaking of gentleman cars, we have Aston Martin. So the first car we're going to be talking about is the Nuvi Advantage. Now the V Advantage is born out of the relationship of Mercedes AMG and Aston Martin. So it gets the Mercedes AMG developed 4-litre twin-turbo V8. It's good to produce 510 horsepower, around 650 Newton meters of torque, which means that the car can do 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds, and it's mated to an 8-speed ZF gearbox. Lots to talk about this car, which we'll get to for a bit. But first question to you, Aditya. Does this look like an Aston?
Are you talking about the Mazda Miata MX-5?
I'm talking about the new.
It's an Aston. Oh, okay. Sorry. You said it's a gentleman's car, and all these gentlemen start with the Miata. So
that's true. That's a good point. But there's something about the headlights on this car. I don't know. I mean, it's got the lines of the DB11. You can see some lineage from there. But I'm not so sure about the front portion. But this looks sleek. It looks a little racer boyish. If I have to use the word.
It doesn't look gentleman. It's not a gentleman-looking car.
Not as much before.
No.
But I mean, the specs. Now coming down to the specs, because it is an Aston, and this is where it gets a little bit more confusing for the Aston, because it's got a Mercedes-sourced engine, and we had a look at the interiors as well. It's got the same Mercedes infotainment system, which, in my opinion,
So it's from the E-Class.
The C-Class, the infotainment system from the C-Class. It's actually got that weird screen that pops out in the middle of the dash.
That little iPad.
Yeah, the floating screen, which looks really odd.
Okay,
and in my opinion, I don't know, a lot of people might have different opinions of this, but my opinion is Mercedes doesn't have the best infotainment system in the market, especially compared to like maybe the Audis or even the BMWs. And this car now has that. And does that seem very Aston to you? Do you think that Aston's maybe losing the plot a little bit?
I mean, there was a time, I think, when Aston used to kind of revolutionize the market. It was what used to change the game, but now Aston Martin is using the rest of the game. I don't know how you put it. It's got a ZF gearbox, ZF transmission.
Same thing that BMW uses.
It's got a Mercedes engine. It's not a pure Aston. If you sit inside, you say it's almost like a C-Class.
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of the screen, the infotainment system. Yeah. So it's not pure Aston to me.
But when it was launched,
it looks like a Mazda Miata.
But when it was Mazda Miata, but when it was launched last year, it was this particular shade that got everybody's attention, because everybody liked this particular shade.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of that.
You're not a big fan of it? Because
it does stand out.
It does stand out.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've been on the track, you've seen Astons on the track, and this is the racing shade that they have. It's not the British racing green anymore as well.
I don't think they've used this particular shade on the track, unless they've used it in the new one.
Coming to
there
which,
you go.
So coming to which, this is the Aston Martin GTE car. Now, for folks who don't know the difference, what's the difference? What is a GTE car? Where does it slot in? What is all this about?
So basically, a GTE car is the old GT2 car, and now you've got like a GTE and a GT3. The main reason is a GT3 car is slightly closer to a stock car, but not very different from a GTE car. So GT3 car usually shares most of its parts with a regular road-going Aston. Whereas a GTE car has a few more mods. In a GTE car, you're not allowed to use ABS, but you can use traction control. Whereas in a GT3 car, you can use ABS. A GTE car is a bit faster. It's got more aero. So overall, as far as lap times go, it is a bit faster than a GT3 car. But there's not too much difference between the two.
So you race in the GT3 class.
I race the GT3 class.
And have you gone toe to toe with GTE cars?
Well, we have raced Ferraris so the thing with a Ferrari is they can race, they've got a conversion kit. So they can race GT3 one weekend and GTE the next weekend.
Oh, that's
so we've raced cars that have raced at Le Mans, but then the next weekend then a GT3 race.
So this is the GTE car of the Aston. It's essentially got the same 4-litre V8, but it's now tuned to essentially meet the GTE regulations.
That looks nice though, compared to this. I think this looks really nice.
Why do you say so?
It just looks mean, aggressive, and not like a Mazda Miata anymore.
Now, let's not give up on Aston as well, because last year when we were at the Geneva Motor Show, they unleashed something called the Valkyrie, which sounds incredible.
Sounds nice.
And the Valkyrie, this is what it looks like. And keep in mind, viewers, this is a full production car. This is going to hit the roads. This is a road legal machine. and it was designed by Adrian Newey. So as soon as I said Adrian, you catch that smile? He just went like, oh, I know you. So if you don't mind, explain to our viewers who Adrian Newey is.
So if you can see Senna as motorsport for cars and Valentino Rossi as motorsport for bikes, you see Adrian Newey as motorsport for engineers. He is the king of all engineers. He in fact engineered Senna.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so as far as engineering goes, Adrian Newey is the best in the business, if you ask me.
He's currently with Red Bull Racing.
With Red Bull Racing, he engineered Vettel through his few world championships.
I think 10 of his cars have won world championships. So this guy has a pretty impressive resume, and this is his vision of the ultimate road-going Aston. And what a vision it is. Now, walk us through some of the aero features on this car. This is road legal, guys. I mean, wow. Aston say that production is going to start in 2019. And we saw it last year. They're all sold out. I think just about 100, 120, 50 units are going to be ever produced.
Honestly, this is unlike anything I've seen. I don't even know. Okay, here, if you look at it, you can say it's gone Formula 1 car-ish, whereas it's got the front wing coming off the body.
It's a front wing, it's not a splitter, it's a
not
wing.
A splitter, it's a wing. It's a front wing like a Formula 1 car. But when you go to the back and you look at it from behind there, it looks extraordinary. I don't even know what that is.
It's almost as if this is probably like the cockpit area where the driver sits.
Yeah,
it's
almost floating in the air.
In like a wing.
Yeah.
So it's science fiction.
I haven't seen it in anything. I haven't seen anything like this in any car.
And what makes the Valkyrie interesting, of course, is powered by a 6.5 litre V12 engine that's also supplemented by an electric motor to kind of fill in the torque gaps.
Where does it even fit in this car?
That is a good point. It's got a power to weight ratio of 1:1.
Oh yeah, that is amazing. A 1:1 power to weight ratio is like Formula 1 car.
Yeah. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking that this is pretty extreme, and they possibly can't go extreme more, well, they pulled off a Senna GTR on us with this.
Now this looks nice. This looks really nice.
This is the Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro.
Wow.
Now this is the track spec version of the Valkyrie. Again, completely incredible.
If you thought the Senna GTR was close to a Formula 1 car, I think this is Formula 1
This is sort of reminiscent to me of LMP1s, especially you have that rear stabilizing fin.
Yeah. So apart from just the V12 engine, it's also complemented by an electric motor.
Right.
So in a sense, it's a little bit of a hybrid.
Yeah. So this is the most extreme, I guess, version of the AMR, unless they come up with something else, which I can't
imagine anything else.
Coming up with something else more extreme than this. Only 25 units of this car is ever going to be produced.
Well, it's more than the Zenvo.
It's more than the Zenvo, for
25 is a lot.
Track only focused. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is our coverage of what Aston Martin has to offer from the Geneva International Motor Show. Pretty interesting offering. On one end, you have something like the V Advantage, the new V Advantage, which is, I guess, this divided opinion of whether or not it is a real Aston. And then you have something like this on the other end of the spectrum, right? Which is just incredible.
Yeah, this car just leaves you speechless.
With this, thank you so much for watching this video and our thoughts of Aston Martin. Do stay tuned, a lot more content coming your way. Bye-bye.